Hello, hello. As my voice is coming. Hello,
Hello,
am I audible?
hello. As my voice is coming.
Hello,
Hello,
am I audible?
hello. As my voice is coming.
Hello,
Hello,
am I audible?
hello. As my voice is coming.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, okay. Thank you. So previously my voice was not coming. Okay, now it's. I think everything looks fine. So let's begin the session from very beginning. Okay, so let me introduce myself. So my name is Pranjal Srivastav, and today I'm going to tell you that whether we need coding for becoming the DevOps engineer or not. Okay, so before understanding this part, like how much coding, if coding is required, then how much coding is required, it's very much important to know what is DevOps. Okay, and after understanding what is DevOps, why do we need DevOps, and what are the tools are required in DevOps pipeline, then we're going to understand that how much coding is required. Okay, so this is the whole objective for this live session. So first of all, I'm just going to thank everyone who has joined this live session, and let's begin to live session. So what exactly the DevOps is? So let's start with the definition of DevOps. In DevOps, you can see we got two words in there, like one is dev and other one is ops. Dev means development and ops means operation. Okay, so what happens in DevOps? It's kind of practices. It's not like any software technology, something like that. It's just a set of practices which we apply in order to make the life easy of development team as well as for the operation team. Okay, so main objective of having this DevOps is to shorten the life cycle of the software development and at the same time making it efficient. Okay, so this is the main objective of having the DevOps in any software development. Okay, now after understanding what is DevOps, it's very much important to know why we need DevOps. Okay, so the thing is like before DevOps practices, what was happening? Like there was an issue. There was not a proper communication was there between development team and the operation team. So what was happening? Like so many times, just because of this communication gap, things were not going the right way. Okay, like something bad thing happened at the developer side, operation team doesn't take care of it, or if something went wrong at operation team side, so development team doesn't care anything. So there was always a mismatch was there every single time. There's no proper synchronization was there. So what we this DevOps comes to the picture and it literally solves this particular issue. They have something called a planning, which will allow you to have proper communication between both the teams. This is the main idea of having the DevOps. So it will going to help you to enhance the collaboration between the teams. Now, what else? So once you have a proper communication establishment between both the teams, now what will going to happen? The work will going to be done in the proper way. So if everything is there in proper synced way, so it's just going to help you to increase the deployment frequency. Yep. Now just imagine like you got an idea and you build the application. Okay, now what happens over the period of time? Your customer base is also growing up, so now you need to scale your application, and also you need to add a lot of new features, a lot of things into your application. So at that time, what do you need? You need a proper system. Okay, whenever you will going to update the code, it should be deployed to the production, it should be live to your end user. So this is the whole thing which we need them. So with the help of proper DevOps pipeline, we can have a proper process. Okay, and this allow to increase the deployment frequency, whatever changes we want to add in order to fix the bug, in order to add a new feature to our application, we can do it very easily or very quickly. Okay, and also if we're going to help you to improve the code quality and the reliability. Yep. The- in DevOps pipeline we have something called testing phase. Okay, so whenever you're writing something new thing like adding a new feature or fixing a new bug, it has to be passed through this particular testing phase. So if something is breaking down your application, that part of code will not going to be deployed to the production. Okay, that part will not going to be get live. for your end user. It's just going to stop the whole process. Now you have to take care of everything, whatever is creating the problem. Okay, something is there wrong in any other functions, any files, you have to just fix them. Okay, once it is done, now you can again revise that process once again. Okay, again you're going to push the code to the GitHub repo, and then if you're going to start performing the automated build, automated testing, and at last you're just going to deploy to your production, and then your end user will able to use your application and see the new features whatever you have added. So just because of this DevOps pipeline, it's also going to improve the quality of the code and the reliability. Okay, and make sure that your app is working in proper way. This is something which require, because app is the heart of the business. Okay, and if something went wrong within the application, it will directly impact our businesses. So it's very much important to make sure to give a proper shape for our application. Okay, now this particular point does the same thing, faster time to the market. So just because of you have built a streamlined process, you got a pipeline, you got the automation thing, it is just going to reduce the development cycle, and of course it is going to accelerate the release of new products and services. Okay, of course, just because of this automation, it is going to cut a lot of cost. The very important cost which it is going to cut down is the manual task. Okay, you don't have to hire more employees doing this the redundant task. You can just take the help of this DevOps pipeline, some automation tool, and they're going to do the rest of the job. Okay, so it will going to help a lot in order to make your whole process cost efficient. Okay, and of course at the same time efficient as well, because automation is involved, so you will going to get both the benefits. Now, better customer experiences. Yes, of course, because you got a pipeline. So if something is happening at your code base, you are at your application, somebody is sharing you the feedback about how your application is performing. Now you can actually work on it. Okay, and then repeat the same process. Just push the code to your GitHub repo or any other version control system, and then you got a whole pipeline which will going to take care of the application deployment. So you're going to have a improved service quality and the performance. So this is what you can expect of having a proper DevOps pipeline. Okay, then of course scalability and the flexibility. Again, this will going to imply the same thing, like as your application grows, you need to also scale your applications as well. So that part we're going to be handled by the DevOps, because in DevOps, there are so many phases out there, which I will going to discuss in some time. So these phases will going to help you out to make sure that your application is highly available, fault tolerant at this, and the performing very well. So this is the objective of having the proper DevOps pipeline. Okay, now let me show you that how the DevOps pipeline will going to look like. There the symbol of DevOps is like this infinity symbol. Okay, which means the whole process is in continuous nature. Okay, so what happens, like whenever you got an idea, okay, whenever you got an idea, what do you need? Firstly, you have to plan everything, that the system design, then what are the technology stack you are going to use it, uh, which team will going to do what kind of job. Okay, you have to build a proper RSCI matrix, something like that. Everything we're going to take place and this plan section. Okay, and here we're going to use tools like Zira, Trello, Asana, Monday, something like that, to have a proper team management, like which team is responsible for which kind of task. Okay, so this comes in the plan section. Okay, now here the real thing we're going to take place, the code part. Okay, here you're just going to build your application using programming languages and different database if you require for your application. Everything will going to be happening in this code phase. After this, you need to build your applications into the executable format. This will going to take place in this build phase. Okay, so after plan, then you have to code, then you have to build. Okay, and after building, you have to make sure whatever things you have written down, they are working the right way or not. So that the thing which I mentioned before, we have this testing phase in the DevOps pipeline. So whenever we are making any changes to our code, so it has to be undergo this particular test phase, and then it will going to check everything. Here you can perform the unit testing, integrated testing, whatever you want to do, you can just do it in this particular phase. After this, now everything is up and running. You got application in an executable format, and all the test cases are well performed. Now here comes the release part. Now you have to release your application. Okay, so whenever you push something, push new code to your code base, it will going to undergo this whole process, and at last it will going to release your application. Okay, and the deployment is very much important. Deployment is like where your actually code will going to run. Just right now I'm sitting in my studio giving this lab session. In the similar way, your application needs some space where it's going to be get deployed and do the rest of the job. So that deployment is like whether you can use AWS, whether you can use Kubernetes or whatever, where you can deploy your application. Okay, you need some place where your application will going to be up and running and serve your customers. Okay, now this is the whole part of the development part. You build the code, you test the code. This is the left hand side is more dedicated to the development side. Okay, and the right hand side is they are more related to the operation side. So here, after testing, you went to the release phases, then you have deployed that application to the production so that your end user can actually use your application. And then what next? So what happens once your application is up and running? So whether you need to scale your application or any kind of update you want to make, that part will going to be happening in the operate phase. Okay, then at last, just like us, as a human being, we have to perform a regular health checkup to see like every organ is functioning the right way or not. In a similar way, we have to also make sure that our application, our infrastructure, they are working the right way or not. So we need to have some phase which is known as monitoring, where we're going to get the health report of our application and our whole infrastructure where they are deployed. And this is very much important. Something went wrong. Okay, so you don't know like from where to start. So it's very much important to look after the health of everything. For example, if you deploy your application in one of those servers, like for example you're using AWS, you're using EC2 instances. Okay, and over there the load average is pretty high. Now your applications is having facing some sort of latency problem. So through this monitoring dashboard, you're going to figure it out like, yes, this particular EC2 instances having problem of some having a load average, we have to kill some process over there, or we should create a new EC2 instances to so that the load will going to be get distributed, and our application which is currently facing the latency problem, it will going to be get solved. So this mighty tool will going to help you out to get the dashboard where you could going to get everything, like how much is the load average, how much request is coming to your application, every single thing you can monitor from that dashboard. So this is how the DevOps pipeline will going to look like. And just remember, like the infinity simple simply means like whatever you have uh, established the whole process, whenever you're going to do something new thing, it should goes under this whole phases once again. Okay, so you got one application, the version one of the application, now you want to make any changes to your code. So you make those changes, push it to the GitHub, and again this process is going to be get started. So this is what a DevOps pipeline will going to look like. Okay, so this is what a version control system looks like. So here till now we have to understand three things. The first thing, we have to understand what is DevOps. Okay, that is just killing the gap between these both the teams. And then we have to understand why do we need DevOps. We have to understand the different features which is provided by DevOps. Okay, then we have to understand that how our DevOps pipeline will going to look like. Okay, and different phases are involved in each of them. So in DevOps, we have few things which we have to remember all the time, which is VCS, which is version control system. Okay, now imagine you are building the application. Okay, and like in future you're going to add new things and deal with the different bugs coming to your application. So you need a system where you can manage the versions of your application. Okay, like you're writing this, and then it should be, you know you got the whole track, like who is making what changes, and if you want to roll back that changes done by person A or person B, you can also roll back the things. So you need some system which will going to track each and everything, like whatever team member you're working with, what kind of changes they are doing in, and how they are impacting whatever. You just need a system, because if you don't have the system and if you want to roll back, it will be pretty difficult. So that is why we need something called version control system, and it will going to do the rest of the job. Okay, with the help of version control system, it will track everything. Okay, whatever changes you are making into your code base. Okay, now the next thing which we have, and this is the heart of DevOps, okay, which is continuous integration and the continuous deployment. Okay, let me just do one thing for you to make the things more easy to understand. Let me just open the whiteboard to give you the whole process, and then we're going to revisit those slides once again. Okay, so here we have this whiteboard, and let me show you something. So we got this thing, like this is us, okay, the stick man, and this is our application. Okay, this is our application, and basically this application consists of your, your app files, like your template files, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, whatever you can put them. You can just, I'm considering them into one thing, which is application. Okay, now what we're going to happen, we're going to put this application code to a GitHub. Okay, to a GitHub. And why we are putting the GitHub over here into this workflow, because we can work with other team member. Okay, this GitHub is going to give you this team collaboration features, and which is very much required because we cannot do everything by, single-handed. We need someone, we need other team members to work together and build a marvelous application. So we got different team members who are going to work together. So with the help of GitHub, what is happening, like whatever application you have put over there, now everyone can access to the application, and at the same time they're using Git in the background. Okay, which is responsible what, for tracking whatever changes done by your team member and when you, so if something went wrong, you can simply roll back. This is the plus point of having the version control system. Now imagine you make some serious mistake and you're not having any version control system, you're going to get messed up. Like what code do we get removed, what I can do it so that it will going to run the way it was running previously. So it will be very much difficult. Or what you can do, you can just put a different folder, and this is version 1, this is version 2, this code changes you have performed, whatever. It will be literally very much difficult. Okay, so that is why we need some system which we're going to take care of whatever code modification we are doing. Okay, so once it is done, once you have uploaded the code into the GitHub, what else? So whenever you are going to upload the code, the very much important thing is required is performing the testing. Okay, we have to perform the testing. Whatever codes you're writing in, it should be fulfilling the requirement. Okay, so it's not compromising the old features, as well as if you have added a new feature, that also is running in the right way. So in the testing phase, if we're going to do that job for you. Okay, now you might be thinking, hey Pranjal, like after building the application and then putting that code to the GitHub repo, so this is where this testing phase will going to be take place. And here comes the CI/CD. Okay, so let's just draw a box over here, a big box. Okay, so here I just going to write build test, just written it beneath it. Okay, and then let's add deploy over here. Okay, so here we will going to use something called build tool. Okay, so build tool, what it will does, it will just going to perform the different steps whatever we have written over here. Okay, and here basically the popular one which we use in general is Jenkins. Okay, so with the help of Jenkins, what you can do, you can perform the automated testing. Again, just remember, the main feature of having this DevOps pipeline is the automation. Automation is the heart of this DevOps. So yeah, automation is a very much important factor over here. So with the help of this build tool, or you can say a CI/CD tool, what will going to happen, if we're going to perform the testing automatically. So whenever you are making any changes to your application and then you're putting them into the GitHub repo, it will just going to perform that testing automatically. And after it is done, it will going to go for this next step. Okay, for example, you want to build a new Docker image. Okay, so this particular phase, we're going to help you to build a new Docker image. Now you might be thinking, hey Pranjal, what is this Docker image? So I will going to let you know what exactly Docker means, but right now just understand that this Docker is some sort of executable format of your application, something like that. Okay, so that process we're going to be take under place over here into this build phase. And once it is done, you have to deploy that Docker image to your servers. Okay, so this is a CI/CD pipeline looks like, where you whatever steps you have written down, you're just going to run in them automatically whenever you making any changes to your GitHub repo. CI/CD is a very important thing. Just remember, okay, for any DevOps tool. Okay, CI/CD is very, very much important. Okay, once it is done, it is deployed to your servers. So let me just revisit this particular slide, and you can see that after planning it properly, like what exactly you want. Okay, now you start building the code. So this is happening at development side. Okay, and now you want this build test release deploy. So this build test deploy, you're going to use the CI/CD tool, which will going to automate that process, building your code into the executable format, performing the automated testing, and then releasing them, and at last deploying them to the production so that your end user can use them. So this is the whole process are involved in this CI/CD pipeline. So after this, we have few things more, which is operate and monitor. So for example, if you're using Docker, which is going to be create some Docker containers. So let me just give you a few things around Docker as well, what it does. So basically what Docker does, like this is your app. Okay, this is your app, and this is the libraries and packages, whatever your app needs them, just going to put them all together. Okay, just imagine that you are going for the vacation, you need few clothes, few items for basic, things. So you're going to, open your luggage, and then you can just put those things and pack them, and then you can carry them to your destination, or you can use whatever items you have, you have put down to your luggage. Okay, so here what you have to understand, here we have our application, and here we have put all those libraries packages which our application needs them, okay, into one box. Now we can put this box anywhere, okay, and our application will going to be run. Let me give you one more example to understand much more clearly. For example, I'm building some Python application, okay, and you don't have Python installed. So here you don't have to worry about that part. You can just simply pack your application and simply ship it. Okay, and you can just simply run this Docker container around your system without even installing the Python or any other framework which is used by our application. So with the help of Docker, we're actually eliminating this process of configuration. Okay, the hell of metrics. Okay, so just because of this Docker, it will going to ease that job, you know for you. So what happens, basically, we're going to cover this Docker after some time, but first of all, just understand this Docker will going to help you to containerize the application, and after containerization, you need some tool to manage those container. So that is why we need something called Kubernetes. So these both tools are very much important in DevOps. Right now we don't have that much of time to explain you these topics in much detailed way, but I just want to show you one thing and tell you why do we need them. Okay, so this thing is clear, like you don't have to do the configuration part. Okay, you just got the application, you just got the libraries and packages, you just pack them, and you can run it anywhere. Okay, now once you have the application and it's growing, you need more containers, because inside that container your application is running. Okay, and once you have hundreds of containers, now as a human being we cannot handle them one by one. So we need some tool to manage those container where our application is running. So we need a tool which is known as Kubernetes. Kubernetes will going to take care of everything. Okay, scaling them, updating the application, whatever you have to do with your application will going to be handled by this Kubernetes. So in this operate section which we have over here, you can just think of the Kubernetes, which will going to help you to perform the operations to your applications. Okay, then at last we have the monitoring. So once you have deployed the application, you got the some Kubernetes cluster where your containers are running. Okay, now you have to look after them and get the whole health report of your application, that how they are working and the infrastructure where they're running, is there any issue or not. Then you can just simply use Prometheus or tools like Grafana to get a beautiful charts out of it. So there are so many tools, many tools are out there which you can use them, and they will going to help you out to give a better insights of your infrastructure of your application. Just remember, it's just a health report. Okay, now this is our version control system, this is continuous integration, continuous deployment. So just remember, like this is your pipeline file where you have written different phases like test, build, deploy, whatever you want to perform it. Okay, instead of doing manually one by one every time, it's better to write them some into a pipeline script. Okay, and then it will going to do the rest of the job for you. Okay, so this is what the use of the continuous integration. It will going to help you in the early bug detection. So if something went wrong in the testing phase, they're just going to stop the whole process, not going to deploy your application to the production, okay, to a server where your application will going to be get live. Okay, if we're going to of course help you in code quality, the faster deployment and the safer deployment. So this is the key benefits of using this CI/CD tools. Okay, and this is what infrastructure as a core and configuration management. Again, this is another thing which comes in a DevOps, and it's very much important. Like we again going to use some sort of scripts to provision the infrastructure. Always remember, whenever I say infrastructure, just think of like the home where we are living in. We got a room, we got a fan, we got a place to sit, we got a place to sleep, a place to cook, whatever. In a similar way, we need a place for where our application will going to be get deployed. Okay, and every application needs three things. Okay, and that three things are uh, compute resources, storage resources, and the networking resources. Okay, every application requires few basic amenities, you can say. So compute resources, storage resources, and the networking. Okay, so these three things are very much important, and basically we name it as an infrastructure component. Okay, so think of like you got a server. Okay, you got a server, and inside the server your application is running. Okay, so this is you. Okay, and this is your server, and now you're accessing your application. So here some networking components are involved over here. A place, as soon as you just send the request to your application, it's just going to process your request and give you the response. So some sort of compute resources is involved and where your application is running. Okay, and if you're uploading some images, so it also involves some storage thing as well. So these three things are required all the time. Okay, and if you want to make it more complicated, you can add the security component, you can add the other few components. Okay, so but this is the three things which we require for infrastructure where we can run our application. So what happens, like with the help of code, okay, with the help of code, what we can do, we can build those infrastructure, build those places where our application will going to be get executed. So it will going to help you a lot. Like whenever you want to have such environment once again, such infrastructure once again, just you can use that code and simply execute them. Just remember, why do we need the code? Code will going to help you to automate a lot of tasks. Okay, the things which you're doing manually, you can do it with the help of code. Okay, so now let's question this answer. Let's answer this question basically. Is coding required to become a DevOps engineer? I will say yes, but not complete yes. Like over here, you don't have to write the whole. You don't have to do the hardcore coding over there. Okay, like writing the whole application out there. That part will going to be done by the development team. Okay, so you don't have to worry about hardcore coding. Okay, even you don't have to worry about the competitive coding as well. Okay, so here what you have to look after, let me tell you what you have to look after. Like the scripts. Okay, the scripts which you can use it to automate the task. Okay, let me give you a few use cases where you can use the scripts. For example, if you have some repetitive task which is very much time consuming and you're doing it manually, so what you can do, you can just write the cell scripts, and whatever steps you're doing manually, you can just simply put them over there. Okay, and then simply run them and they will just going to execute, and everything will going to be up and running for you. Okay, so this coding is very much required, and that requirement is just to automate the task. Okay, now for example, you can use the scripts to manage the deployment process, you can use the scripts for automated testing. Okay, see, testing is very much important. Okay, although I won't say like you have to write the whole test case suitcase. Okay, but here wrong. Okay, inside the DevOps pipeline. Okay, so just give me a moment. So something went wrong in the DevOps pipeline. Let's just see the voice is coming in. Yep. So if something went wrong into the DevOps pipeline, okay, inside the test phases, you must know that much of code, like where which test cases is failing, and then you can take the action, and then you can just simply ask the development team to work on them. Okay, so it's very much important to know a little bit about the test cases. Okay, that how they are working and how you can use them. Okay, and then this particular thing which I was mentioning you, the IAC and then configuration management. So with the help of this code, what you can do basically, you can provision the infrastructure, you can manage those infrastructure with the help of code. Instead of doing everything manually, opening the AWS console, for example, and creating the S2 instances and deploying the application, then applying the ELB, doing everything manually doesn't make any sense. Okay, so what you can do, you can just write them into the form of code, and then they're going to do the rest of the job. Okay, so now another thing is like which programming language we should know in order to do that part. Okay, which programming language? So it's here basically, um, if you know Python, it will be of course a fabulous thing which you can have, because with the help of Python, because this is widely used for scripting and automation and the deployment and the development phases as well. So with the help of Python, you can build such scripts and they're going to do that job for you. Okay, and you can also if you know something about bash scripting, the shell scripting, of course it will be very much helpful for performing the system administration task. Okay, like for example, you want to clear some zombie process, you just got a script which is doing that part for you. Okay, or you want to run few things, like you want to take the backup of your files of your database, whatever. So instead of doing manually, just you got a shell scripts, and then they're going to do that job for you. So if you want to create some users or whatever, doing some repetitive tasks, then you can use this shell scripts, and it will going to ease the admin works. Okay, then if you know something about Groovy, so Groovy is very much important. Like if you're working with the Jenkins, like in Jenkins, like whatever we write the pipeline, Groovy is involved. But here once uh again I'm saying it's not like hard as any uh like the things happen in the development side. Okay, it's very much easy to understand. Okay, so again I'm saying it again and again, like you don't need to learn that much of coding. You just need to know few things about the coding. This will going to help you a lot. Okay, because the main agenda of using coding is to uh perform the automation. And yep, it also going to help give you some what I say things like you can customize the whole process. Like if something is happening, okay, or you got a system which is doing some XYZ things, now you want some ABC things, okay, something custom. Okay, and now what you can do, you can just take the help of your coding skill and then write the whole script out of it, and then they're going to do that job for you. So customization is required. Like whenever you are performing something where custom solution is required, then at that moment coding is something which you can give you a lot of perks. For example, we have one tool which is Ansible. Okay, Ansible is good for performing the is a configuration management tool. Okay, whatever infrastructure you have, you can just use the Ansible scripts to take care of them. Okay, performing the configurations like performing the patching activity, performing the maintenance, or deploying some software. You know, what I can say, updating, or what I can say, installing the software, uninstalling the software, whatever, anything, whatever you want to do, you can just take the help of Ansible. And if you got 10 or 20 or hundreds of servers, you can just handle them just using the Ansible playbook files. So here, if you want to build some custom solution, you want to build the Ansible modules, for example, at that moment you need some coding. Okay, you need some Python coding to build such modules, so that you can reuse those model for upcoming days, okay, for future use cases. So over there, like whenever some custom solution you need for your applications, at that point you need some coding skill set to do that part for you. But these days what you can do, you can just take the help of ChatGPT as well for doing that part. Okay, so whenever I stuck somewhere, and if I'm writing some cell scripts, if I'm writing some custom modules for my Ansible playbook or whatever, what I do, I just take the help of ChatGPT or any AI tool, and I just give them the task that this is my uh, you know goals, and this is what I'm expecting. So they're just going to generate some template for you which you can use them. And of course you got some starting point. Okay, and after that starting point, whatever things you want to do, you can do it. Okay, now of course just because of adding the automation into the process, it's just going to make your life easy, making everything efficient and cost efficient basically. And consistency is there because you got a code, and whenever you're going to execute them, whatever things you have written inside that code, it will going to be executed in that way only. Okay, they're just not going to use their mind to do something random thing. So whatever things you have written inside the code, they will just going to do that thing for you. Okay, so this is what the coding will going to be used in the DevOps pipeline. Let me show you a few more things. Suppose this is my GitHub repo from my last batch, batch 19. Over here, let me show you. For example, let me start with from week 8, for example. Okay, so this is for Terraform. Okay, Terraform is what? Let me show you one thing. So Terraform is configuration. The Terraform is IAC tool, the infrastructure as a code. So this Terraform code will going to create a servers for you, networking components, and some storage, some database services for you. Instead of doing manually, this code will going to do that job for you. So if you see over here, this is my Terraform folder, and if you see, let me just open this one. um, Let me just open this main.tf, and here we can find, okay, let me just open this project one, I think so. Yeah, and then vpc.tf, for example. So here I just written few things in this thing. Okay, the sources block and whatever things I want the Terraform to create. Okay, I just mentioned all those steps over there and they have created for me. Now you might be thinking, oh Pranjit, this looks pretty complex, and how I will going to remember and how I will going to write them. See what you can do, what I basically do, I always use the official documentation, take some samples from there and customize them in my order. Okay, so this all the things whatever you're seeing right now on my screen I just taken from the official documentation only. So this resource block and then whatever things are writing over there. So in just remember one thing, whenever you want to perform some automation you need some scripts to do that part, and in order to write those scripts you must know how to do it manually. Okay, so this is the whole step by step process. You must know like how to do the things manually first. Okay, like open the aws console, and after opening the aws console creating the ec2 service, ec2 services which we're going to create the virtual machine, and over there you want to run your application over there. Okay, this is the whole task. So if you know how to do this thing manually, then you can write the code in this way. Okay, you can just go to the Terraform resource documentation, and then over there you can just find out the thing whatever things require for your use cases. Okay, this is what I do for Terraform. Okay, and the same thing I do for other things as well. Let me show you a few other examples at how much coding is required. Over here you can see, let me show you one thing, like just write Terraform and then vpc, let me just write in over there. Okay, and then the very first URL whatever you're seeing right now over here, we're just going to open them, and this is the example which whatever they're presenting over here. Okay, now let me just open my example once again, week 8 project 1, and then vpc.tf, and here you can see this exact line which you're seeing from here. You can see it looks similar. Okay, so you just see the different options which comes in the console, like whenever you're doing manually those options are going to come over here in this official documentation, and they also provide the argument reference which you can take the help of. Okay, so this allow you to write the code, and and then they were going to help you to automate that process for you. Okay, so this much of coding is required. Okay, like whenever you are working in the DevOps domain. Okay, now this in DevOps we got so many job roles, so this particular one is more related to the platform engineering, some SI job roles. And over there this Terraform we're going to provision the infrastructure. We're going to help you to build the infrastructure, a place where your application will going to be get executed. This is for Terraform, for example. Let me show you a few other examples to give you insight that how much coding is required. Okay, this Java example definitely we're going to guide you how much coding is required. Okay, and just remember in DevOps we are not doing any competitive coding. Okay, if you know the competitive coding, of course it will going to help you to understand how your code is working. Of course it will be always plus point. Okay, and also going to help you to lead the other job roles. Okay, when you are going to that process. Okay, now let me show you other folder like week 7. Over here we have for Ansible. Okay, this is for Ansible, and if you see an example for install docker.yaml, for example. So here this particular Ansible, what it will do, like whatever servers I have, and if I want to install Docker over there, so instead of opening every servers and then uh, running the and running different commands to download the Docker and install the Docker, what you can do, you can just write them in this way. Okay, you can just give the name and then package and the name and the state. This will going to help you to install Docker into hundreds of EC2 machines altogether, into hundreds of virtual machine, whatever you are having, in just one, playbook file. Just simply execute them, and they're going to do that job for you. So this is something which you can do, apply. Okay, now you might be again thinking, hey Pranjal, again this looks very much complicated. Again, I will say just repeat the same process. Just open the official documentation, see whatever things you need them. Okay, while writing the playbook files. Okay, just remember official documentation is the one and only source which you can prefer, and they are up to the mark all the time. And if you're looking some custom solution, then of course you can follow other blogs, but most of the times you're going to get your solution from the official documentation. Just you have to read them. Okay, and again if you going to stuck somewhere, then use a chat gpt or Gemini. This will going to help you to ease the whole process. Okay, this is for simple Docker thing, and for example this is for if you want to deploy any application to your hundreds of EC2 instances, just within using this file. This file will going to run this application to your hand yourself a virtual machine. So here, first of all, we're just going to clone your GitHub repo, and after cloning the GitHub repo, if we're going to install all those libraries and the packages which is required for your application, and then simply run them Python and the name of your file app.py, for example. So again, it looks very much easy. Okay, now you just the secrets. Okay, the cheat codes which I follow, and you can also adapt those cheat codes and write the playbook for yourself. So if you're a beginner, if you're a fresher and you are completely having a zero background in the programming, of course you can still work in DevOps domain. But having a little bit coding background will always give you competitive edge, and of course a lot of benefits. Okay, while working with the applications. So whenever you're stuck somewhere, you don't have to dependent on any other guy. You know that how this thing works, and then you can do the job very efficiently. Okay, so this is the example for Ansible. Okay, let me just show you other examples. Other example, for example, let me just open week 3, for example. And in week 3, this is for Docker. Okay, so let me just open this Docker app Docker, and then this Docker file. Now here, this looks again very much easy. Okay, here how much coding is required? I don't think so. Here you must know how to perform the bubble sorting, and the any kind of sorting over there, or whatever algorithms are there. You just need to write something like how your application should be packed into your image, and then how it will going to create the container. Okay, because inside that container your application will going to be get executed. So you need to provide the source code, copy the source code, and then installing the whatever libraries the packages require, and then run the application. So here I just mentioned the steps which are required to run my application inside the container. Okay, so you can see like this much of coding is required, not too much hard. Once you are starting working with this Docker, Ansible, Terraform, it will be much easier for you to do this thing. Okay, and just remember, once you got a complete template file, whenever you're going to have custom use cases, custom different kind of problem sets, you know how to deal with that problem. Okay, so the Docker file template which I have just shown you, it will be similar for other applications as well, but little bit changes were going to be there. But I know it will be easier for you to do that part once you start in working with the Docker. So that is why I started with what is Docker, why what is DevOps, and why do we need DevOps and different tool chains, because this is something which is very much required. And after understanding those tool chain, now I'm showing you different tools which I've discussed and how to write them. Okay, for example, let me open this week 2, and over here week 2, let me just open app, and over here here, let me just show you. Okay, pipeline.txt, let me just open samples, for example. Okay, so here let me just show you one thing, pipeline.txt. Okay, so here is, you can see over here like this is a simple pipeline scripts, how it looks like. It follows a Groovy, and here every pipeline, like you define different stages, and it will going to do that job for you. So here you can see like this particular stages, we have build stage where I have written few commands to get executed, like get, sh, and then pip install. And this test is there, we're just performing the py test for you, performing the unit testing, then Docker, then push Docker image, whatever. So this example shows you how to write the Jenkins pipeline, and here again, it's not too much complicated to write that pipeline script. Okay, just you need to establish the concepts around the basic data structure if you need them, but still it's not very much required. You must have proficiency in shell scripts first of all, and then once you got the proficiency the shell scripts, now what you can do, you can just exploring few things around around the Python. Okay, like if you want to do the same job with the help of Python, how you can do that. Okay, once it is done, then you're ready to go. Whatever things you want to, you can do it very effectively. But again, you can see right now whatever examples I am showing here, no Python script is there. Okay, I'm doing the things which they provide. Okay, like for example the Terraform, I'm using the SCL. Okay, the HashiCorp configuration language, and over there it's just using some sort of YAML syntax little bit, and you're just prescribing them, and then they're doing their job for you. Okay, so few things to remember before ending this session. Few things to remember: coding is required but not too much. Okay, coding is required but not too much. Okay, and if you're having zero background, still you can survive in this DevOps domain. Yep. Okay, so the very first thing is like with the help of coding, you are basically having this automation thing into your pipeline, into your process. Okay, and the second thing which where the coding will going to help you in customization. Okay, if you want to build some custom solution over there, the Python script will going to definitely will going to help you a lot. But other than these two things, you must know about coding, like you must know how to write the shell scripts. Okay, now what basically the shell scripts are, like in shell scripts you're just going to write different commands which you execute them one by one in command prompt. You can just write them into a script, okay, inside the script, and then whenever you're going to execute that script, they're going to execute those bunch of commands for you. So this is how the everything will going to look like, the shell scripts. Okay, and once you got hands on the shell scripts, then you can exploring other things like Docker. In Docker file, I don't think so. Like over there, you need to explore anything. You just write down the template things, and then you can do it very easily. So the very first thing is requires the shell scripts. Other thing which is required is YAML. Okay, just explore a few things around YAML, that how to write the YAML file, understand that how YAML files looks like, and what are the advantages they offer. Okay, because YAML is something which you will find in multiple places. Okay, in Terraform, YAML is not there directly, but the syntax which you're seeing in Terraform looks a little bit similar to the YAML. Okay, and in Jenkins we are using the Groovy. So if you want to expand your knowledge, you got enough time to explore the Groovy programming language as well. Okay, and of course Python is required, but very little bit. Okay, whenever you want to build custom solution, something like that. Okay, so this is a thing around this coding. If you guys have any kind of doubt, just let me know. Okay, if you guys have any kind of doubt, just let me know, and I will also going to share this particular slide with you, which you can follow, understand different concepts whatever you have discussed. Okay, so here let me just once again summarize everything for you. The role of coding is for performing the for performing the automation. Okay, and for customization, and of course as you're adding automation, so it will going to make the whole process efficient and consistent. Okay, and yeah, this is something we should remember, the difference between scripting and traditional programming. Okay, in scripting it is very much short, and they are doing some specific task, whereas programming here you're using programming language like Java, C Sharp, Python, something like that, to build some comprehensive application. Okay, you cannot use the sales skills for building the application. You just need some programming language for doing that job. So the use cases of scripting is like for quick fixes and automation, but for programming, like the programming language, whatever you use, is for building the complex solution. Okay, and the benefits like faster deployment, easier to learn and deploy. Okay, so this is what a difference between scripting and the traditional programming in DevOps. Okay, now this is a few programming language which I just discussed: Python, Bash, Ruby, Go. Okay, it's not too much required. The Ruby, Go, it's completely optional. If you're dealing with Chef or any other tool, then of course you can go and learn Ruby and Go programming language. Okay, so make sure to know about Bash, the shell scripts, and then Python. Okay, these two things is very much required. And if you're dealing with Jenkins, then of course learn about Groovy as well. They are pretty much easy. Okay, because in any programming language you must know at least fundamental things like how to put the conditional statements, how to put the loops. These two things are very much important thing. Okay, how to create the variables, how to access them. These few things are required all the time. Okay, and different data structures like dictionaries, or, the maps, and the list, all those things are required very little bit. Okay, once you know this thing, you can do an excellent job in this DevOps domain. So this is what you can expect. Okay, well, and I hope I have answered this question, like how much coding is required. Yes, coding is required, but not too much. And if you are a beginner, if you're a fresher, and you are coming from non-technical background, still you can survive in this DevOps domain. Okay, still you can survive into this DevOps domain. Okay, and let me share you one more thing. Geeks for Geeks, GeeksforGeeks DevOps, and over here, this is the upcoming course. And if you're interested over here in the DevOps, whatever things I have discussed, the different tool chain, whatever, everything we're going to be covered into this particular batch. Okay, like in week 0, we're going to learn with what is DevOps, the flow. Already I have discussed, but we're going to give more time to understand them. And then we're going to explore the version control system, how and why we need them, and how to use them, and different important commands which comes within them. Okay, then CI/CD is there, then Docker is there, how to use the Docker for real-time scenarios. Okay, then how to use this shell scripting for doing automation for admin task. Okay, then Kubernetes, then the AWS. Okay, the Ansible, Terraform, and the monitoring. So whatever we have discussed, whatever things are there into any DevOps pipeline, any typical DevOps pipeline, we're going to discuss everything in this 10 week. Okay, and our new batch we're going to start from 25th of May. So if you are not enrolled, you can also enroll to this course, and you can avail the 30% discount which is happening right now. Okay, so this is what the whole batch we're going to look like. You can just simply search for DevOps GFG live, and you're going to get this particular course landing page. You can explore what are steps you're going to learn, uh, and how I can take advantage from this. Okay, after enrolling the course, after having this 10-week session around this Docker and all, you're going to also develop different projects on different tools. Okay, and also we're going to build some real world projects as well, which you can use them as a portfolio project. Okay, like whenever you're going for any job. And just remember, doing practical things is very much required, and this is the whole thing which is focused in this particular course. Okay, because knowing things technically and theoretically doesn't make any sense, because in real world you have to do the things, okay, in real time. So never hesitate, and just build the application, do a lot of hands-on. Okay, if you're getting a lot of errors, this is time to learn them. Okay, how to deal with those errors, because in future whenever they come, you know how to deal with them. Okay, so this is how you can approach to whatever errors you're going to get in. Okay, so let me conclude this particular session, and here we go. I can just go to this last page, and here again, like, if we're going to help you to increase efficiency, better automation, improve problem solving. Yes, little bit learning curve is there if you're starting with Python, and if you have a zero background. So little bit learning curve will going to be there, but okay, it is okay. You can, if you are enough curious, you can do it very efficiently. And the future trends which you will going to love it, like emerging tools and practices, will going to reduce the need of deep coding skills. Right now whatever I'm doing right now, those things going to be get eliminated anytime soon, because these days AI doing the fabulous job. So this AI tool will going to write this Docker file for you, will going to write the Terraform file for you, just you have given the different scenarios, and then they're going to do that job for you. Now it will not going to kill your job basically, but they're just going to help you, act as a companion for you, write those code, and you have to review them. You cannot just simply use the code generated by AI and then simply putting them into your application, into the infrastructure, because just remember, app is the heart of the business. So you cannot do this thing. Okay, you have to review everything which is generated through AI tool. Okay, so always human will going to be there, but yep, of course, what you can expect over here, the numbers will going to be get decreased. Okay, so you have to be a master uh, around whatever field you are opting. For example, if you're in the DevOps, so you must be having the knowledge around DevOps, as well as you must be knowing how to use the AI tool as well. Okay, so be flexible, learn DevOps as well as learn the AI tools as well at the same time, because this AI tool doing a lot of things, and in upcoming days I don't know what will going to happen, but yep, that's for sure. The right now whatever code which we are writing, it will going to be get reduced. Okay, so what we have to do it is like finding the right mix of coding and non-coding skills in a DevOps team. Okay, so this is what you can do, and let me share this particular slide so that you can work with this. This is the URL I have given over there. You can just simply use this URL, and simply learn that how you can use this coding in this DevOps. Okay, I hope I have answered this question. Now this is taking away to the end of this session. Okay, just be confident, just do practice, and don't get afraid with coding, because coding is not too much complicated until unless you're just building some complex things. In DevOps, that much of coding is not required. Okay, so this is some sort of, you can say, plus point. Okay, and if you're coming from not background, not technical background, not programming background, still you can survive. Okay, so that's for all today. Thank you everyone, and this is Pranjal. And if you want to connect me on LinkedIn, you can also connect me on LinkedIn. I will be happy to help you out You can also click on this let's chat, so that where you can ask your queries over there. Okay, so this is all about today, and bye, take care. Okay, be confident and do practice, and never afraid with the errors. Okay, this error will going to be definitely going to help you in future. Okay, whenever you're going to get those error, you know how to deal with them. Okay, that's for all today. Take care, everyone. Good night.